Good morning. Thank you for the great introductions, as well as thanks for having me here. So, a little bit about myself. My name is Hiep Nguyen. I am the COO of iHey. We are building an AI knowledge discovery platform based out of Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. So, a bit about iHey. We launched our product last year, and since then, we've been downloaded 15 million times. Right now, we serve more than 100 million questions per month, and we've had the great opportunities of partnering with global investors, hyperscalers, universities, and corporations to bring the most affordable, trusted, and hyperlocal AI to millions of Vietnamese. Okay, so that's a bit of a pretext, but so I was given the task today by the organizing team at Viction 2025 to share my thoughts on the state of AI. And I was also given the deadline of sharing my PowerPoint slides 1 or 2 weeks in advance. When I got the email, my immediate thoughts is I hope you guys are ready for me to make last minute changes because in the span of 1 or 2 weeks, everything will change. And as the world would have it, it did. In the last 5 days alone, we got 3 of the biggest launches of the year. The first being Claude Opus 4.1. This was a bit more silent launch for a lot of people, but for the coders in the room, this is huge, right? Better agentic planning, long-form coding, chain of thought reasoning, as well as just a massive, bigger context length for you to play with. And then there was that big move from OpenAI towards open source model with the OSS series. If you use this one, it's actually quite competent and you can learn it locally on your laptop. And then at the end of the day, on Thursday, there was GPT-5. I'm sure everyone in this room have tried it. Some probably found it overwhelming. Some probably found it underwhelming. Personally, I thought it was pretty cool. It's not the Death Star moment that Sam Altman thought, but it's pretty great regardless. But because of that, I thought that using today to talk about the state of AI based on the massive updates of all of the frontier labs doesn't seem to make sense. These are the breakneck speed that they've been doing for years now, and to us, it's not that surprising anymore. But what would be beneficial, especially for the builders and entrepreneurs in the room, is how this state of AI and the lessons that we've learned from previous years really changed the game for everyone, okay? So the big question that I want to talk about today is where do application layer builders stand in a world where state-of-the-art models move at breakneck speed? And I'll simplify that. Why do we build new products in a world where the labs are supposedly destroying everyone? Why do we build products whenever there's a new GPT model, everyone seems to die? Okay, and this is a question that's intimate to us here at iHey, and this is a question I'm sure is intimate for a lot of the builders in the room. So to do this, we have to take a step back to see where we are within the curve of things. And I love this picture. I've been in this event. I've used this picture 4 times. Every time I talk about something different. But let's walk through it. Where are we on the curve of AI? We have passed perception AI. Perception AI is basically Face ID on your phones, speech recognition. We probably have also passed generative AI. Generative AI is the last 3 or 4 years between 2021 and 2024, where things like transformer-based model, diffusion models really got productized and put in the hands of millions of people, okay? But the problem with the generative AI era is that a couple of things. One, there was a bunch of hallucination problems going on. 2, at the end of the day, the usefulness of generative models kind of stopped when it can't enter your workflow, okay? So you can't really use it for more complicated and extensive work. And that's where we are right now. We move up to the 3rd phase, which is the agentic era. The agentic AI era where it's hot, everyone's talking about AI agent, but I'm sure if I pick a couple of people in the room and ask, what's the difference between an AI chatbot and an AI agent, the difference seems indistinguishable. So I'll also take a step back and define this in the most non-marketing way possible, what I think an AI agent is. An AI agent is basically software that is built on top of the reasoning capabilities of LM models. It is a software that could plan, that could take action through a set of steps, that could hold a hypothesis, that could backtrack if the hypothesis is incorrect. It could be wrapped up in simple system of 2 or 3 steps, or in very sophisticated system of tens of steps running in parallel. An analogy that I really like is if you talk to an AI chatbot and it feels like talking to a machine, then talking to an AI agent must feel like talking to a colleague. Okay? So that's the phase that we're in. So now that we're in a different phase of the AI curve, what really did happen in the last curve? Did all the AI application died? Not really, right? A lot did, but a lot still survive and actually thrive. And when we put it that way, the reflection to me and my team is why? Why are we still here when OpenAI, Anthropic, Google are still pushing out amazing products? Okay? And I think that boils down to 2 key lessons. One, the first is the future, I believe, is multi-model. It's not one model to rule them all. And this is not me being facetious. This is from hard-earned lessons of the iHey team, where we extensively tested every major model to build our model orchestration system. And the reality is simple. There's no one model that excels at everything, okay? OpenAI GPT series is phenomenal. It's the best when it's come to text-based, language, creative writing use cases, okay? But Anthropic Claude series is superior when it comes to agentic reasoning and coding. Then when it comes to Gemini, their multi-modality understanding is the best. They can analyze visual cues, graph, pictures, so on and so forth. An analogy I would like to say is that it's like you can't ask a Formula One car to also be the best SUV, to also be the best truck. Everything has its unique strength. So when we go back to the question I asked before, that means that as an application builder, your job is to give the best experience to your user, and then your job is to orchestrate these models to the best use case so that delight the end user. Whereas for the frontier labs, the one who are building these models, they are limited by the very thing that they built. So that to me was a critical first lesson. The second is that after the last, historically speaking, what we have seen is that every time there is a model layer breakthrough, there's also an application layer breakthrough, okay? A very hot example, I guess, is Claude. Claude, OpenAI has always been the backbone of a lot of these new coding products. But the moment that Claude 3.7 came out and crushed all of the benchmark when it comes to coding, a bunch of category-defining companies and new category emerges. Okay, in AI IDEs, there's Cursor and Windsurf, getting to almost 100 million in ARR in matter of months. Windsurf was also asked to be acquired by OpenAI for $3 billion. And then, of course, there are the Vibe coders, the Lovable, the Riplet, the Bolt, who grew to 30 million in ARR, 50 million in ARR in a matter of weeks. Okay, so historically, that's been the theme. So the question then isn't, is your application, is your AI wrapper something that could survive, but is your AI wrapper a delightful product that keeps getting more delightful as more models comes out? Or the way that we here at iHey like to think about it is how nice, thick, and yummy is your wrapper? Okay, if your wrapper is a simple taking an input, run it through a model, put it through an output, maybe this isn't what you should be doing because OpenAI already won that game. But if your model is much more complex, let's say it used multiple models, one for indexing, one for search, one for embedding text file, one for merge, ranking, judging, and then presenting that context in a model orchestration layer that picks, like I said, the best model for the best use case, and then you put that output into the most magical interface and experience for your user. Maybe that's where we have seen folks like Cursor, like Lovable winning. Okay? And that to us is a critical step. And what I like to think about a lot is this Sam Altman quote. And I'll read it aloud. If you're building a top of GPT and your product gets substantially better each time a new model comes out, you're on the right side of history. If your product does not improve with the base model, you get left behind. And in 2025, I would like to think of more updated version is if your architecture gets better each time a model from any of these frontier labs comes out, you're on the right side of history. And then your job is to beg upon that with fundamental defensibility, right? Brand effects, network effects, distribution mode, so on and so forth. So if that is the stage that we're in, I wanted to think, how does Vietnam really play in this game where things move so fast? And I'll do you all a favor by skipping the talk about how big our population is, how tech savvy we are, and all that stuff, okay? Truthfully, I think, I thought about this last night, this slide probably scrapped it. I think it'll be all last night, and there are 3 things why I think Vietnam win. 1, genuinely, I think we're just darn good app builders. We're so good at repurposing advanced technology, making it our own, seeing opportunities and giving it to users who actually need it to make money. We're good engineers, we're scrappy, and we always see opportunity. 2, I believe, and I know, we're in an era where it's unprecedented. This is the first time where the whole national fabric is encouraging you to build. From corporations, enterprises, to the government body itself, the number of incentives that are given to builders everywhere is massive, okay? And 3rd is the simple fact that we haven't faced any trauma. We haven't faced the bubble burst, the traumas that Western or Chinese AI builders have faced. That's why we're supposed to learn the lessons from the billions of dollars that they have lost. So if we take all these 3 points into account and build something that is right for the future, build something that is at the right phase of the AI curve, build something that we're good at, and build something that means something to you, I think we're in a good place. Okay? So when I was also doing this, I think I ended it with this slide, and the organizing team texted me, hey, can you end this with a more positive and optimistic note? I thought this was pretty optimistic. So that I'll probably add another one, in a sense that when we first built iHey, there was a lot of doubts. Doubts from our family, doubts from our friends, of course, doubts from investors. But we strive through, because I think the core thesis that we have was that if there are 100 million Vietnamese, 1 million Vietnamese enterprises, then there should be 1 million use cases that matters uniquely to Vietnamese people. Hyperlocal, niche, from entertainment things like Vietnamese lottery, Đánh Lô Đề, to more advanced, more workflow things like oil and gas knowledge bases. We believe that there needs to be an AI product that serves Vietnamese. So we did it anyways. We did it. We got rejected by 52 different investors. We were at the end of our runway for a lot of the times, and we eat dirt. But then somehow we made it happen. We are used by millions of people now. We're in ranking that matters. And in the month of May, we are one of the most used AI product in Southeast Asia, and we're the only AI product that is built by Southeast Asians. So I'm not sure, I hope we last, I hope we get over the line, but the end of the day is, this is a statement that there are use cases that we as Vietnamese AI builders could build, and I hope that the points that I made give you some confidence to take a step, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Thank you so much.